Hello, I'm Fraser Palamara, and today I'm joined by Professor Stephen Davis from the Australian Stroke Alliance. Stephen, can you start off by taking us through the different types of strokes and how many people they impact worldwide?
Well, stroke is a massive global problem, Fraser. And basically, what a stroke is, it's a sudden brain problem caused by either a blocked blood vessel, what we call ischemic stroke, which is the majority of strokes, or a ruptured blood vessel, which is called a cerebral hemorrhage. And this is the second leading cause of death. And there are about 14 million new strokes each year in the world, with close to 6 million people unfortunately dying from the condition. So it's a very common condition, and we know a lot about the causes and the risk factors. And fortunately, there's a lot more that can be done in terms of acute treatment.
Stephen, what are the treatment options available right now? What happens to a person's body during and after a stroke?
Well, when someone has a stroke, they develop sudden symptoms, and they are typically what we call the fast message. So weakness of the face, weakness of an arm, sudden loss of speech, and the T stands for time to act very urgently. Unfortunately, there are some features that predict a stroke more likely to be a blocked blood vessel than a ruptured blood vessel, but we can't be sure without doing a brain scan what type of stroke it is. So before we use treatments, we must do a brain scan, which is usually a CT scan. And a CT scan will then tell us whether there's blood or no blood. If it is a blocked blood vessel, an ischemic stroke, we use therapy to increase the blood flow in the brain. And we do that firstly with thrombolysis or clot busting treatment, which is intravenous treatment to break down the blood clot. And the second and very dramatic treatment is called endovascular thrombectomy, also known as clot retrieval, where a very skilled neurointerventionist puts a catheter up into the brain and literally yanks or sucks the clot out of the brain to restore the blood flow. If, on the other hand, it's a ruptured blood vessel, a bleed, which has a higher mortality even than blocked blood vessels, then we consider rapid reduction of blood pressure, and secondly, consideration for neurosurgery in some cases. So there's a lot we can do, but the mantra that's used around the world is that time is brain, every minute counts, and it's time to act fast.
So, with all of that in mind, how important is something like World Stroke Day, and what does it specifically mean in Australia?
Well, World Stroke Day is a day that's held every year, typically on the 29th of October. And it's part of a global campaign to increase awareness of stroke and to reduce the burden of stroke. And I understand that the theme for this year's World Stroke Day is very much focused on that fast message, that every minute counts, time is brain, as we say, and people need to move very, very rapidly. So what that means in practical terms is calling the ambulance service in Australia 000. In Melbourne, we've got a very special service called the Mobile Stroke Unit. We have two of these. These are special ambulances equipped with a stroke team and a CT scanner that allows the patient to be treated, in fact, outside their own home before they're transferred to hospital. But generally, the message is recognise the warning signs, learn that fast message, call 000. That the earlier you're treated, the better the outcome.
So, there are a lot of companies like MicroX, for example, working in the stroke space. What are they doing, and how do you think it could help the future of stroke patients?
It's a great question. So a hospital CT scanner weighs 1 or 2 tons. It's a very, very heavy instrument. In our mobile stroke units, the instruments that we have, the CT scanners weigh somewhere between 600 and 800 kilograms, still very, very heavy. So you can't put those in aircraft or regular ambulances. So MicroX is a company based in Adelaide that has developed this incredibly unique mini CT scanner, which is based on a totally disruptive, revolutionary concept called nanotubes. Very fine tubes, you can only see them on electron microscopy. And they use these tubes to form the fundamentals of imaging called miniatures. And the bottom line is they can construct a device, and they've got a prototype already. And this prototype weighs about 70 kilograms rather than 700 kilograms. So it's 10% the weight. So it's about to go into human trials, but this will radically transform the availability of CT, not just in Australia, but potentially around the world, because we can put this very lightweight instrument into aircraft, helicopters, fixed-wing planes, or regular ambulances and treat the patient before they get to hospital. So we save a lot of time and the outcomes are better.
Stephen, it's been an insightful chat and thank you for joining us today.
It's a great pleasure. Thanks for your time, Fraser.
For more ASX news and analysis, subscribe below.